Hey, everybody. My name is Milton Granadillo. Give it up for all the storytellers, by the way. I am very happy that I didn't follow the penis story, so forget. So I write comedy, I do stand-up, I do improv, and the fluid that goes through my funny bone is Conan O'Brien. I adore the guy. I learned English listening to Conan O'Brien, living in Venezuela. Like, I would download in like LimeWire clips from his late shows. Like, the amount of virus that came to my computer just because I wanted to see him and Triumph the Insult Comedy Dog. So he was and also like I don't like sports. I know, shocking by the way that I look. So I never had like stars. So as ridiculous as it sounds, like my Muhammad Ali is Conan O'Brien, if that makes sense. And he has always, like, I love his comedy, especially because he's very smart, even though it doesn't look like it. He dares to be silly. Like, it's a thing that I tell my nephew all the time, like, dare to be silly, like, be courageous enough to be silly, So I always wanted to meet the guy or at least see him live. I got to see him live in New York 2 years ago. Side note, I was living with my partner and we got separated. We separated. We separated. But before we separated, she had given me as a birthday present Conan O'Brien tickets to see him in New York for the New York Comedy Festival. So even though we were separated, we went together. And it was lovely. It was like the farewell tour, And the thing is, I don't cry that often. And I cry out of joy, not out of pain. I'm like, when you see like black and white videos of the Beatles and there's like a 14-year-old just crying, that's me. So of course I got to see him, even though he was like this size, and all the videos that I recorded, it's unusable because it's just me bawling, crying while watching the guy. So parallel to this, I'm doing a show one time, a stand-up show, and Maria Leandra, a former co-worker of a company that shouldn't be named, reached out to me, and she was like, my husband has ALS, and in his bucket list is to do stand-up. And I was like, well, this is amazing because I always wanted to coach someone to write stand-up. So we ended up being very good friends. We would meet every Monday. The blessing and the curse of Venezuelans is that we see comedy in everything, even the darkest places. So we hit it off very fast. Jules and me, we started writing comedy together. And last year, we eventually even did a show at the Miami Improv, which is one of the best venues other than this. And we did a crowdfunding event. He got to perform. Everyone was laughing, crying, everything. So it was one of my proudest moments to see him perform, and also I got to perform in that show. Sounds magnificent, right? It's perfect. But then he says, I love Conan O'Brien. I would like to meet him one day. But he just says it just to say it. And Maria Leandra, his wife, is this kind of person that is always like driven, So she's like, you want to meet Conan O'Brien? Let's make that shit happen. So she found the assistant of the assistant of the assistant. Cut to, they having a Zoom call with Conan O'Brien. Jules, his wife, and Conan O'Brien. And he didn't have to do that. He could have just sent an email. He could have sent an autograph, and that would be enough. But the guy talked with them for almost an hour. And it was the most endearing thing because he was so present in the conversation, and he was so interested in them. And it's just them saying, like, we admire you. And he's like, no, I admire you. You guys are fantastic. And I just watched the video of the Zoom call, and I got goosebumps because I was like, I can't believe that one of the person that I admire the most, now I admire him even more. And so the conversation ends with Conan saying, I really need to meet you guys in person. So whenever I'm in Miami, I'm going to call you guys. So he, a month ago, shit, I'm going to cry. I hate this. He recorded his podcast in Miami, and he invited them. So I was like, bro, Jules, at least give me like an autograph, man. Come on. Come on, bro. So after the show, Conan gets to talk with them, and they're like, hey, because by the way, part of the interest in Conan was like how cool it's this guy to have this life-changing event of ALS and still doing comedy with that. So he was like, that is admirable, that is fantastic. And then he's like, by the way, I have a coach. And, so I was like, oh, Conan O'Brien knows about me. Wow. And Conan sends me a video saying Milton, and I swear to God, it was like 4 p.m. at the office, and I started crying. People were like, what the hell is happening? Like, who died? And I was like, I can't explain that. So I got an invitation to the next day to see a live recording of the podcast and to meet Conan Christopher O'Brien. The show ends, and then the assistant is like, wait around, Conan wants to meet you guys. So Conan, he's like 7 feet. I don't measure in American, but he's like way taller than me. And he has very piercing eyes, and my friends are there, but he like locks eyes with me, and he shakes my hand, and he's like, oh, you're the comedy coach. And I'm just like, and you're Conan O'Brien. And my friend was like, don't fucking cry, man. And I was like, I'm not gonna cry, what? And we start talking, and again, he's the most like present person. And I think there's like levels, like nice, yes, we should all try to be nice, but most people that try to be nice all the time are just obnoxious. Kind is important, you can be kind, but not everyone is Mr. Rogers, but noble. Just doing good things just because. That, for me, is the most admirable thing in the universe. And Conan O'Brien is noble. Look, man, don't you dare. Because he's just talking with us. Like, it was almost like, guy, just go and, like, you just did a show. Go and shower, whatever. He was just talking with us. And he's very present, and I'm just, like, flabbergasted. And then as he's leaving, I was like, hey, do you mind if we take a picture? And he's like, yes, of course. And as I'm pulling out my phone, he hugs me. Yes, I know. Papa? By the way, he's very white. Like, he doesn't have, like, eyelashes. It's very bizarre. So I was like, oh, this is amazing, but also like, wow, what's happening? So we say our goodbyes. And he leaves, but then his assistant is like, oh, don't go anywhere. He wants to send you guys something. So he sent me the mug that he was using on that recording, and it says, God damn it. It says to Milton, you are a good man. Yes, I know. This clap is for him, not for me, whatever. But it's like, right back at you, like it's very cool to have a role model that is not only good at his work, but he's a good human, man. And that really like felt close to, to Jules, who was fantastic, to Marilandra was like everyone was just like in the presence of like the Pope, So, how about that for first impression? That's it. Thank you, guys.